Earlier this week, we heard something strange from the CDC. All of a sudden, their guidelines were changed quietly in regard to testing amid the pandemic. At first, there was the guideline that if you've been in close contact with an individual who has coronavirus, you should absolutely get tested. And if you're positive, you should self-quarantine. Then all of a sudden, on Monday, the CDC recommended that people who had been in close contact with someone positive for COVID-19 not be tested if they're asymptomatic. What? So reporters wanted to know why. They had a call with the CDC, they were asking questions. None of their questions seemed to get any type of robust, detailed answer. And so now all of a sudden the CDC is backtracking a little bit, but their response has been even more confusing. So Centers for Disease Control Director, Dr. Robert Redfield, issued a statement to reporters saying that testing may be considered for all close contacts of confirmed or probable COVID-19 patients. Okay, Redfield's statement just partly walks back the change, but leaves the question of whether those who have been exposed to people who have tested positive for the virus should be tested. The CDC director says only that testing may be considered. So look, everything unfortunately has become politicized. Even independent government agencies like the CDC have been pressured by the Trump administration to carry out what his goal is, which is less testing, because he genuinely believes that more testing makes the country look bad because he's a failure. Right? Donald Trump likes to hide his failures. He doesn't like to address his failures. He doesn't like to take stock of what he did wrong and then maybe recalibrate his approach. Donald Trump's whole strategy is to brush things under the rug. And so he has said multiple times, especially during his rally in Tulsa, that he wants to slow the testing down, please. He said that. So he pressured the CDC to slow the testing down. They thought they could do it quietly without getting caught. They got caught, and now they're giving this weird, like, half measure backpedal situation that's just further confusing people.
Yeah, that's the whole point. So if it's something as straightforward as testing, if you get tested, you know what you get? You get a positive or a negative for COVID, for anything. That's how testing goes, right? So if you're gonna counsel someone on whether or not they should get tested, shouldn't the answer to whether or not you even do this definite 100% black or white answer thing also be a definite black or white answer? Why is it considering, possibly, maybe, but if, considering, but on top of, on the back channel? Why does it always have to be some random? It's so again. If your name is Jane Smith and you live in Omaha, I always get Omaha. I have no idea why I always say Omaha, but if you live in Omaha and you work in an office and they reopened and you walked in, you're like, oh man, Jim in accounting totally has COVID. Should I get tested? I wasn't necessarily near him, but I think I passed him. And you maybe want to check out what the CDC has to say. If you look at their response, you'll go, Jane will say, I still don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, consider, because you should consider it. You should consider, but yeah, like I'm already considering, like, you know what I mean? Like
I consider by coming here.
Yeah. It's amazing. And by the way, Redfield added that the Trump administration wished to put more of a focus on testing individuals with symptomatic illness, individuals with a significant exposure, and certain vulnerable populations. Okay, thank you for clarifying. That's very helpful. So let's actually listen to what a real expert who doesn't get pressured by the Trump administration has to say about this. And that's Dr. Anthony Fauci, who, by the way, was under anesthesia on the operating table when the coronavirus task force decided to discuss changing the guidelines on testing. Fauci was on the operating table in surgery when the changes were approved. He released a statement on Wednesday criticizing the shift. He specifically said that he was worried that these new guidelines would lead to people thinking that if you're asymptomatic, well, then you're not a risk in terms of community spread. And he said that you are very much a risk if you're asymptomatic but have COVID. So don't listen to what, I can't believe I'm saying this, but don't listen to the new guidelines from the CDC, including their attempt at course correction, which just further confused people even further. Like yeah.
No, it's been the way for a couple weeks now, I think, because I remember thinking, hey man, they've eliminated the CDC as a reputable agency that can give people valid, reasonable advice on what to do. When with the school back and forth, and then with the what was that second thing? And then when they took the testing situations or the results from those agencies and stuck them in the White House, like all these things give people no reason to have any faith in the government agencies. That's one of those things that's just getting peeled away every day, and it's not taken as seriously as it should be. So again, so if a vaccine is produced and these things all come out great and fine, there's a large percent of the population that has no reason to trust anything that they say or do because of all the rest of these things. That goes back to when he ran for president. And we're talking about how much big of a liar he is. And well, whole big deal, he lied. Oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay. That's a symptom for what could be a serious illness, which has been thrown upon our country. He lies all the time, so no one believes him when he talks about serious things. So if he says the truth that 1% of the time, nobody's gonna believe that either. And it might be an important thing for us to actually hear the truth about, and it's gonna hurt further.
And I think, you're absolutely right about that, but also for future administrations that might actually want to do the right thing. Once you destroy trust in these agencies, then even if the agency is staffed with completely different people who want to do the right thing, there's going to be a certain level of distrust that started under the Trump administration, and there are consequences to that, especially when you need people to be on board to do the right thing to combat this pandemic effectively.
Want to win a free electric scooter? Well, our partners at Aspiration and Zoom Electric are making it possible. All you have to do is head to tyt.com/greensummer for your chance to win.